Hello there, good evening, and you're welcome to tonight's news bulletin. This is the evening news coming to you live from our studios here at the John Evans Fifiata Mills High Street in Accra. We're also streaming live on Facebook at Adoa TV Ghana and around the world at adoanews.com. My name is Jonathan Amana. Let's look at stories making up headlines in tonight's news bulletin. Coming up tonight, the National Council of the New Patriotic Party has endorsed the decision by the flag bearer, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, to pick Energy Minister Matthew Brempe as his running mate for the upcoming elections. Tonight's news bulletin will also bring to you the National Democratic Congress calling a press conference at the party's headquarters today to discuss the current situation between the President of the Republic of Ghana, Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo, and the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. In business tonight, in a bold move aimed at bolstering Ghana's economic stability, the Institute of Economic Affairs is making a strong case for crucial amendment to the Bank of Ghana Act 2016. The world at adoanews.com. Now let's settle for our very first story. In our first story tonight, the National Council for the New Patriotic Party has endorsed the decision by the flag bearer, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, to pick Energy Minister Matthew Opoku Prempeh as his running mate for the upcoming elections. The National Council endorsed the decision on Thursday after earlier meeting with the National Executive Council and the National Steering Committee of the party. Opoku Prempeh, popularly known as Napo, is also a member of parliament for Menchia South and former education minister. His selection is seen as a strategic move by Bawumia to consolidate support within the party and across the country, especially in the Ashanti region.
Candidates shall, in consultation with the National Council, nominate the vice presidential candidate. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, I'm happy to report that after the necessary consideration, the National Council of the party unanimously endorsed the presidential candidate's nomination of Honorable Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh, Member of Parliament for Menchia South and Energy Minister, as the vice presidential candidate of the New Patriotic Party pursuant to our Constitution, Article 13(3). This significant milestone marks the completion of the party's presidential ticket for the 2024 general election and therefore sets the stage for the party to fully engage the Ghanaian electorate comprehensively with our message of transformation. I wish to, at this juncture, say something little about our vice presidential candidate, focusing primarily on what he brings to the New Patriotic presidential ticket, since he is not a stranger to the body politics of our country.
Still on the selection of Napo as the running mate for the New Patriotic Party, we have Dr. Bernard Tutubuain on the line, a political analyst, to dissect matters to us on the selection of Napo as the running mate. Dr. Buahin, you're welcome to the show. Hello, can you hear me? Hello, Dr. Buahin. Hello, Dr. Buahin. Hello, Dr. Buahin. If you can hear me, please, can we have your initial reaction? Okay, let's take a quick turn and we'll be right back. Okay, so yes, we have Dr. Boyne on the line, a political analyst, to dissect matters on the selection of Napo as the running mate. Dr. Boyne, if you can hear me, your initial reaction to Dr. Prempe being chosen as Baumia's running mate.
Good evening to you. Good evening to viewers. I think that that is the best card that the MPP could put forward in terms of balancing the presidential ticket with Dr. Baumia.
Okay.
And so, with regards to the decisions by the National Council, the decisions by the power brokers in NPP and the candidates themselves, I think that we need to give them that credit, that respect, for doing, what they've done by selecting, Dr. Makibuku Center,
Okay.
as the running mate of Dr. Baumia.
All right.
Basically, when you look at the profile of these two candidates, all the things that voters require, from the president and the right, the presidential candidate and the running mate, can be found in these two, candidates.
All right. All right.
And I thought that this card, when giving, the kind of seriousness and attachment, will go a long way, to enhance the chances of the NPP in the 2024 election.
Okay. 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 Thank you. Mr. Boyne, what is the impact, Dr. Prempe? What impact will Dr. Prempe have in terms of chances of the NPP on December 7th?
Yeah, so you realize that basically, if a presidential candidate or a political party is choosing a running mate, they look at the impact that that candidate is likely to, make. One, with respect to the campaign, and then two, with respect to government.
Okay.
And so, with regard to campaigning, we talk about the fact that Dr. Makibuku Prempe, is that person who is the Ross. He has media control. And so at any day, at any point in time, his engagement with the media, is something that nobody can take away from him. He's a friend to the media as well. He had had a lot of media engagement with the media and all that. And number two, he's somebody who can articulate frequently, on a number of issues. And again, when we look at his campaign, in previous elections, the messages that he put across there, obviously, he's one of the guys who can articulate the visions of the presidential candidate and the party very well, to the understanding of Ghanaians. With regards to, his background, in terms of his own region, which is Ashanti region. Obviously, Ashanti region more or less is the heart of the MPP, and that is where majority of MPP votes, will be coming from. And so, getting somebody from there, from the previous UP data, elections, turnouts, and all that. MPP will need more than 80% from Ashanti region.
All right.
And then, backing their chances of leading an election. So if you have somebody in the person of Dr. Makibuku Prempe, who is the son, of the Golden Stew.
Okay.
And who is also an indigene of Ashanti region. Obviously, it is possible that it is possible that all things being equal, he will be able to, energize, the Ashanti region as a constituency.
All right.
And for them to prove their weight, to the MPP. And I'm looking forward to that. But it will be a challenge to him. that probably for the first time in the history of Ashanti region, he will be able to pull around 85 to 90% voter turnout, in favor of the NPP.
Okay.
Then, of course, we know the kind of impact that he has made in there. When you look at his political experiences, he has been with the NPP, for that long, and he has served in various capacities, becoming Minister of State and others.
All right.
And so these experiences will be required, to sort of help in terms of governance, where he can advise the president, he can, talk to the president and give him some kind of directions with regards to certain decisions and policies. Again, I feel that his educational background, as a medical doctor, is also something that you can also put at the disposal of the candidate. So there are a lot of things that probably we can mention. I feel that he will make a lot of impact. And basically, when he said, you want to understand, the things that Ghanaians are looking for from a vice presidential candidate or a running mate. Obviously, it is clear that these days, Ghanaians don't just vote for the president. They also vote for other, leaders of the party, including, the vice presidential candidate, even constituency chairman and all that.
Definitely.
People will vote for a political party, and get the party into power because of maybe a constituency chairman or a regional chairman.
Okay.
So it is also clear that people vote because of vice presidential candidates.
Okay.
And basically, such people will be looking out for, certain qualities of the vice president in order to make sure that, okay, this pair is going to bring something rewarding, to the country. And so there are a lot of things that voters are looking out for now. And so I feel that basically these are some of the things that will energize Ghanaians and probably balance the ticket for Dr. Bawumia. And I think that it is a good alternative for him to have gone for it.
Okay. Finally and shortly before you go, please, do you think this Napo and Bawumia duo is a sure win for the NPP come December 7, 2024?
You see, politics is a game, it's a fun game. All right. So sometimes you cannot have your complete bet on it. But I feel that given, all odds, you cannot say that the ticket will not brighten the chances of NPP.
Okay.
Until ballots are cast, they are counted, and winners are declared.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Sometimes we know that it is not just because
all right.
the parent is not good, but probably there may be certain factors, which probably not have accounted for it.
Okay.
So beyond that, I feel that these are candidates who can work together. They've been in cabinet together, they've had party engagements together and all that.
All right.
So they can equally work together for the good of the party.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much for your time. We are very, very grateful for that. Well, there you have it. In our next story, the National Democratic Congress called a press conference at the party's headquarters today to discuss the current situation between the President of Ghana, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, and the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. Addressing the press, the General Secretary of the party alleged that the President was attempting to appoint an additional 5 judges to the Supreme Court.
Beloved country stands at a critical crossroads. The very pillars of our democracy are under siege by an administration that has shown a blatant disregard for the rule of law and the sanctity of our independent institutions. It is our moral duty to defend our country. We need to unite under a common cause to fight to preserve the integrity of our judiciary and the very soul of our democracy. Ladies and gentlemen, it will surprise you to know that President Akufo-Addo, who has already backed the Supreme Court with an unprecedented 15 appointments, is now conspiring with the Chief Justice of the Republic of Ghana, Justice Gertrude Araba Elizabeth Tokuni, to add 5 more justices to our highest courts. This isn't just a political maneuver of an already failed president. It is also an assault on our democracy, a betrayal of public trust, and a direct threat to the integrity of our judicial system. Imagine the dire consequences of this reckless action. This government stops at nothing and is determined to create a judiciary that is no longer a check on executive power, but a mere extension of it. This is not the Ghana our forefathers fought for. It's not only a blatant violation of our constitution, but also a flagrant disregard for the established customs and traditions that guide the nomination of judges to our nation's highest courts. The names of the 5 judges put forward by the Chief Justice in her unconstitutional, unsolicited, and self-serving request to the President include the Leadership Justice Angelina Mensah Bumia, His Lordship Justice Eriche Bafo, His Lordship Justice Edward Amaku Asante, Her Ladyship Justice Pamela C.A. Kuranten, and Her Ladyship Justice Ifia Asare Bojo, the judge who is currently presiding over what we call the persecution of the Honorable Minority Leader, Dr. KCL Atufos. It is interesting to note that this brazen, unsolicited request from the Chief Justice, dated 30th May 2024, was promptly received by President Akufo-Addo on 4th June 2024. Subsequent to that, the Attorney General, who is the Chief Executor of the Minority Leader in the Court of Justice of Ifia Asare Bojo, brazenly followed with another letter dated 21st June 2024, expressing support for the Chief Justice's unsolicited and unconstitutional request. With the President, the Chief Justice, and the Attorney General in agreement, and in furtherance of the President's grand agenda to pack the courts and annex the judiciary as an extension of the new Patriotic Party, an emergency judicial council meeting was hurriedly convened on 24 June 2024 by the Chief Justice, who is also the chair of the Judicial Council. At the said meeting, the Chief Justice, who on the face of the record initiated the unsolicited request for the additional 5 justices to be appointed to the Supreme Court, presented the Attorney General's letter of 21st June 2024 to make a case to the Council for this appointment. Interesting, at that meeting, the Chief Justice remained completely silent about her own unconstitutional and self-serving request to the President. Our unimpeachable sources tell us that the Judicial Council, however, unanimously stood against the reckless schemes of both the President and the Chief Justice. We are further informed that all the members of the Judicial Council rejected the proposal, citing poor and dangerous time, especially with general elections only 6 months away.
And in a related development, the Ghana Bar Association has also expressed their dissatisfaction of the government interference in the judicial system. Mr. Fifi Fiavikwete, the General Secretary of the National Democratic Congress, lamented that the GBA is disappointed in the Chief Justice, who is supposed to advise the government on appointment rather than writing letter requesting for additional appointment. In the plight of this, the government should rather have made a proposal to increase the number of judges as the Constitution emphasizes 9 judges of the Supreme Court.
We have in our possession a letter signed by the President of the Ghana Bar Association, Yao Achampo Boafo Esquire, dated 29th April 2024 and addressed to President Akufo-Addo. In this letter, the Ghana Bar Association objected to the clandestine approach by President Akufo-Addo to appoint 5 additional judges to Ghana's Supreme Court, thereby increasing the number of judges on the Supreme Court to 20. President Akufo-Addo, with the connivance of the Chief Justice, had sought to hide his attempt to further pack the Supreme Court under the guise of a proposal for a minimum ceiling of 20 judges on Ghana's Supreme Court bench. The GBA's disagreement, which we find well-grounded and well-reasoned, is premised on the fact that the present proposal should have come in the form of a proposed amendment of Article 128(1) of the 1992 Constitution to set a new ceiling for the number of judges on the Supreme Court, which currently consists of the Chief Justice and a minimum of 9 other justices. The GBA argued forcefully that the request by President Akufo-Addo and Chief Justice Gertrude Tokonu to increase the minimum number of justices of the Supreme Court to 20 will lead to the circumvention of the required constitutional amendment, hence their rejection of same. The GBA proposed a review of the constitution of the conventional number of justices of the Supreme Court every 10 years, calling for broader consultations with other key stakeholders such as the Council of State and Parliament. From the foregoing, it is clear that the Chief Justice sought to put forward the names of these judges as though they were being proposed by the Attorney General on behalf of President Akufo-Addo. We are completely shocked and scandalized by the extent to which the Honorable Chief Justice was prepared to consciously sidestep the due process and even breach the Constitution just to please the President and aid him to execute his unholy agenda to pack the Supreme Court. It is for good reason that Article 144(2) of the 1992 Constitution enjoins the President to make such appointments to the Supreme Court on the advice of the Judicial Council in consultation with the Council of State and subject to parliamentary approval. In the wisdom of the framers of the Constitution, this consultative process is designed to protect the independence of the judiciary. Contrary to this constitutional imperative, the Chief Justice singularly constituted herself into the Judicial Council and unilaterally acted in his name and on his behalf. By electing to write to President Akufo-Addo, requesting for this appointment and seeking a post facto ratification from the Judicial Council, the Chief Justice sought to turn the Council into a mere rubber stamp. Nowhere in the Constitution is the Chief Justice named as the one to recommend persons to the President for appointment to the Supreme Court. We wish to state without any equivocation that the Chief Justice's letter is illegal and of no effect. Her actions have completely turned the due process on its head and compromised her independence as the head of the judiciary.
In the same press conference today at the NDC headquarters at Abraka, Mr. Fifi Fiavikweti advised the government to halt plans of appointing additional 5 judges to the Supreme Court. This cause comes after they noted that the unrevealed appointment of 5 additional judges to the existing 15 lords of the Apex Court, totaling 20 judges.
It is also very clear that the President is packing the courts ahead of the impending presidential and parliamentary elections with judges who are sympathetic to his party. Such deliberate politicization and bastardization of independent institutions of state, including the judiciary, will negatively impact the peace and stability of our country. It is trite knowledge that without a fair and impartial judiciary, democracy and constitutionalism will suffer. That is why this must be an issue of huge national concern, as it adds to the many other issues that already pose big threats to the peace and stability of our democracy. Already, President Akufo-Addo has appointed as many as 15 judges to the same Supreme Court since 2017. This exceeds the 7 appointments made to the President John Evans Mills and President John Mahama over the 8 years of the NDC. President Mills appointed 3 judges to the Supreme Court, while President Mahama appointed 4 judges to the Apex Court. If President Akufo-Addo and the Chief Justice are not restrained in their unholy alliance to appoint 5 additional judges to the Supreme Court, it will bring to 20 the number of judges appointed by President Akufo-Addo alone to the Supreme Court. While the Constitution of Ghana does not put a cap on the number of judges to be appointed to the Supreme Court, it is very clear that the framers had operated on a reasonable assumption that all presidents will be mindful of endless appointment to the Apex Court and its consequences. The framers of the Constitution clearly did not contemplate an Akufo-Addo presidency, where the Apex Court will become packed with loyalists of the president and his political party. With general elections set to take place just in a few months, we are of the view that President Akufo-Addo must immediately halt his plans to make any further appointment to the superior courts. This is in view of the fact that he has already packed the court with too many of his loyalists, to the disbelief of many right-thinking Ghanaians and consummate Democrats. Again, there are enough judges on the bench at this particular point in time to deal with the judicial issue.
Now, away from the NDC headquarters, the Supreme Court has set July 17th, 2024 as the date for ruling on the motion of interlocutory injunction filed by Dr. Amanda Odoe and Richard Delasky. The plaintiff are seeking to prevent the Speaker of Parliament from transferring the Human Sexual Right and Family Values Bill to the President for assent. The Supreme Court, chaired by Her Ladyship Justice Gertrude Tokunu, adjourned the case to allow time for a detailed ruling on the interlocutory injunction. Pakwesi Abedu, lead counsel for Richard Delasky, expressed satisfaction with the court's decision to deliver separate ruling on the applications.
Under Article 108, Clause A, subclause Roman number 2, there's what we call financial impact analysis report, which should have accompanied the bill before its admission by the Speaker of Parliament. And once that was not done, then we are saying that right from the beginning, there was a constitutional breach. And this is what will not let the bill fly. The rule of civil practice is that where cases touch on the same subject and the parties are the same, the case can be brought together or consolidated. But let me also be the first to admit that even where cases are consolidated, the judges are at liberty to give judgment in respect of each case. So the mere fact that they are consolidated or not will not take anything away from our judges.
Some more stories tonight. The Ghana Education Service has announced the introduction of the newly implemented self-posting module to recruit the first batch of degree holders in 2022 from public colleges in Ghana. In a press briefing today, July 4th, the Director General of the Ghana Education Service, Eric Nkansa, at the institution's premises, explained that the module has the benefit of allowing newly trained teachers to be posted to regions where language will not be a barrier. He also claimed that it would enable them to select schools closer to their jurisdictions while enjoying associated economic benefit.
As has been the norm, The service received applications from 21,010 interested applicants. Out of this number, 12,784 graduates from these colleges were qualified for employment. We wish to inform the general public that all the 2022 graduates from public colleges of education who applied for the recruitment via the GES promotions platform and satisfied all the requirements should visit the portal from 5th July to 31st July to select their preferred region, district, and school. The self-posting recruitment model has a benefit of getting the newly trained teachers to be posted to regions where language will not be a barrier. Thus, they can speak the local language wherever they choose to teach. And we know that would create a very effective teaching and learning environment. In addition, ladies and gentlemen, the teachers get to also select schools that are close to families and subsequently enjoy the economic support that they so need. The steps that they need to follow to be able to access the platform and also to select the school of their choice. It's that when they visit the GES promotions platform, the same platform they use in the application, they go back there, enter their college index number to verify their qualification. 3, enter your phone number. So your phone number and your NTC number. That presupposes that before you qualify, you must have written the NTC exam, the licensure, and passed. So your NTC number and your phone number must be entered. We will be doing the demonstration here for you to see so that you can report accurately. This is crucial, since if you don't do that, it will be very difficult for you to be validated and for you to be successful in your application. Once you do that, a one-time password, OTP, will be sent to your phone number, the number that you have provided in the system. You enter this OTP and you carefully select your region, you select the district you prefer, and then a school of your choice within that district. Then you submit.
Now, away from that, the final day of the Built Environment National Conference on Housing and Hydrology focused on regulating engineering practices in Ghana. Mr. Isaac Bedu, an engineer from the Engineering Council of Ghana, speaking on the subject, says all engineers must be registered under the government to enable them to operate in the country and across borders. He said individuals and organizations involved in teaching and selling engineering materials are not exempted from registering. Failure to do so will result in sanctions.
So we are looking at the overview of the regulatory framework. And like I said, the council is to keep registers of practitioners in the industry. So we have 4 registers. We have registers for individual engineering practitioners, licensed bodies, firms, and educational units or institutions. Next. So for licensed bodies, currently we have only 2 licensed bodies who have been registered by the council, and that is the Ghana Institute of Engineering and Institution of Engineering and Technology. They have satisfied the criteria set in the Act, and they've been registered. They are associations of professional engineering practitioners, and we have registered them. So they in turn are to certify practitioners for us to license them. Now, the category of practitioners that we license are professional engineers, professional engineering technologists, engineering technicians, and craftsmen. Next. So for firms, we haven't started registering firms yet, but the Act requires that we register firms. And we have various categories of firms that we are to register. We have consulting engineering firms, engineering contracting companies, engineering service providers, manufacturing companies, fabrication and maintenance units, vendor of machinery, equipment, appliances, and even those who sell engineering materials. The fourth category is educational institutions that offer engineering programs. We are required to register and license them. And as part of the licensing process, we are supposed to approve their programs. So the council, together in consultation with the relevant accreditation bodies, we approve engineering programs for the engineering educational units. So you can see the graph of the offenses. So with the categories that I've spoken about, if you are not registered or licensed by the council and you are practicing and you are within any of the categories, then you are infringing on the law. It's an offense. If you are a practitioner and you have not been licensed by the council and you are practicing, then get ready, we'll be coming after you. Interesting thing about Africa is that the regulatory bodies have come together. So we have the conference, next slide, we have the Conference of Africa Regulatory Bodies who have come together, and the main objective is to eventually have engineers moving across borders to practice without any inhibition. So we want to have programs synchronized, so that if I'm an engineer and I've been registered by the council in Ghana, when I get to Nigeria, once I have a license from Ghana, Nigeria will not have a problem for me practicing there. So that's the main objective. Best practices. Continuous stakeholder engagement is important. Continuous professional development of practitioners. This is very key. Continuous registration and yearly renewal of licenses. So every year, if you're a practitioner, you have to renew your license. Enforcement of code of practice and disciplinary measures. We have code of practice, and if you go against the code, there's a disciplinary committee that.
And some more stories tonight. The government has spent over 339 million Ghana cedis on the National Cathedral project, which has faced delays. This substantial expenditure was confirmed in Parliament on Wednesday, July 3rd, by Abna Osei-Asare, the Minister of State at the Finance Ministry, responding to an urgent query raised by Deputy Majority Leader Patricia Apiagyei. Osei-Asare clarified that the funds allocated and spent on the contentious project. She noted that the National Cathedral's account are currently being audited.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, as presented to Parliament in November 2022, total releases made for the National Cathedral by government to date remain at 339 million. Mr. Speaker, as presented to Parliament in November 2022, total releases made for the National Cathedral by government to date remain at 339 million 3,064 Ghana cedis and 86 Ghana pesos. This figure comprises 225 million 962,500 Ghana cedis paid to the National Cathedral Secretariat and 113 million and 40,564.86 Ghana cedis paid directly to the project consultants. Right, Mr. Speaker, there was value for money audit done on the project in 2021 by Kesley Doyumo Group. Also, a statutory audit of the National Cathedral of Ghana accounts by Deloitte Ghana was started in July 2023 and is ongoing. The auditors had concluded the audit of the 18-month account ended 31st December 2020. Meanwhile, preparations are in place for the auditors to complete the remaining accounts for the periods ended 31st December 2021, 2022, and 2023.
And that was the Minister of State at the Finance Ministry, Abena Osei Asari there. We go for a quick break. We'll be back with business. Do stay.
Emri bi atwam apomuden ho nsɛm agye nsɛm ho ɛma ɔsoro yedin ɛma sase idiawerɛho enti onyankopɔn nam daesu mu ɛda nnua ɛne habama ɛbɛgye adasama nkwa ɛkyerɛ adugyamfi okumanini barima ɛno akyire no adugyamfi ɛsa akɔtera kwayem ɛdaduanan a wɔmfa nsuo ankana no menu mienu apomuden panti wenti enigisem onyankopɔn de yare nyina so tumi ahyɛ Dr. Tamda so nsa gise di wawuo anase yesie no nkoa ene wontimi na yaresa bia hɔ de wasiesie hɔ kama fakakra bi bɛgye wa yaresa ɛwɔ kumase abuakwa agogo fra yɛn 0244 774282
oyalfo bia kai sɛ udimafo ɛyɛ midimafo heba clinic Dr. Tamda so.
The joy of every home. We cherish them because they are a blessing, yet fragile. From the womb, where there are many mysteries, to the delivery room, where we'll help welcome your baby to the cradle. My Baby Nest on Adoa TV is here to help you know the early signs and symptoms your baby gives when it comes to their health. I will be talking to midwives, pediatricians, child psychologists, speech therapists, and teachers to help you know the signs your baby gives to you. My Baby Nest, your baby's health, my concern. My name is Na of Pills.
Welcome back from that quick break, and thanks for choosing Adoa News. Now let's get settled for business. In business tonight, in a bold move aimed at bolstering Ghana's economic stability, the Institute of Economic Affairs is making a strong case for crucial amendment to the Bank of Ghana Act 2016. Central to their proposal is the extension of the governor's tenure, ensuring continuity and independence from presidential terms. Speaking at the stakeholders forum, themed reviewing the Bank of Ghana's Act to promote transparency, accountability, and effectiveness, senior scholar Professor Alexander Bilsindako from the IE emphasized the critical importance of safeguarding the central bank from governance influence over the governor's terms and conditions.
First looked at issues such as the constituency of the board of Ghana, the appointment of the governor, the processes that the Bank of Ghana has to go through before it is allowed to go over lending to government beyond the set a percentage, whichever percent of the previous revenue. We discussed that, and then we also, like I said, we discussed if there's the need for the country to think deep about changing the appointment of the Bank of Ghana for the Bank of Ghana governor terms to overlap that of the president. And then also we talked significantly about how to really ensure the independence of the Bank of Ghana in the conduct of its duties in terms of promoting price stability and exchange stability, and also conduct policies in a way that would help promote the economic development of the country.
And some more business updates. The Minerals Income Investment Fund is advocating for a conscious effort to address underdevelopment in mining communities. The fund believes this can be tackled by investing in the human resources of residents in these areas. They are particularly focusing on improving local participation in women in mining. Edward Nanayao Cranton, the Chief Executive Officer of Fund, made this known while unveiling the 20 million Ghana cedis scholarship for women in mining communities. The scholarship aims to empower women and enhance their participation in the mining sector.
Must cover your human capital. In fact, the most important investment any corporate entity can make is in the human resource. And for us to be able to garner the value that we seek to, especially when it comes to mining, we can't say that it's too early. It's almost like the free SHS. I know you have the arguments that we should wait 10, 20 years before we implement free SHS. But the negative social impact does not wait for you. As quickly as possible, you need to make sure that you have an even investment outlook, where you look at what you have to do in terms of investments to be able to get your ROI, returns on investment, etc.
Still in business, Accra, Ghana's bustling capital, is projected to experience heightening congestion by 2030 due to significant population growth, according to recent data from the Ghana Statistical Service. The GSS latest population projection for 2021 to 2050 highlighted a notable increase in population across the Greater Accra region. The Greater Accra region in particular is expected to house a growing number of school-aged children, projected to reach 2.96 million by 2030. Deputy Government Statistician Dr. Faustina Frempong, who presented the data, cautioned the government to intervene in the exponential population growth in the Greater Accra region, covering smaller land species.
Now, so we are saying that the population structure, the projected population structure for Ghana is expected to continue change. There will be a downturn from the children population from the 5.3% in 2021 recorded to 29% by 2050. And then we are saying that the 60 years and older is expected to increase from 6.5% in 2021 to almost 11% in 2050. Health Ministry, so now the need for 60-year-olds, you need to capture it because it will be different from what we're giving to children and then what others require. Now we talked about the dependency ratio. And so we defined in there that the total is for 0 to 14 plus the 65 and above over the 15 to 64 years. The idea behind it that we are looking at those people ideally who are not working and depending on this working age group for support. So they feed themselves and feed additional mass. That's one we are looking at. So when you look at this blue line here, it's the total one. And so we are saying that in 2021, it was 65.76%, and we expect it to be tapering down to 56% by 2050. Now, when you look at this one, this is the adult or the old, those 60 years and above over the working group. And so we are saying that because they are surviving more, now we are going to have them increase over the lifespan to be able from the what we had initially to the dependency ratio given us. So it means that when you take only the old, it means that in 2021, those people in the economic active group had additional 7.1% to be able to cater for. When you add the children it had 58%, and when you add the 2, it gives you 65. So here, the children used to be the more concentration. Even though it's still high here, you are seeing things are changing. Now, only children is moved from 58.5% to 45.5%, while that of the old alone is moved from 7.1 to 11%. And therefore, even though overall, dependency ratio is decreasing, the additional mass they have to feed is decreasing. The quantum, or we have to spend more caring for the elderly that are surviving. Now we also talk about population per square kilometer, so where people live. And when you look at it, less than 25, you find my people. We are here, we have land, so we are not changing that much. But by 2050, we have shifted from less than 25 people per square kilometer. Now we try to reconstruct, please, and this one is slightly different from what you may find. We constructed the senior population from 1960 to 2050. What we used was that we used the current land size of the 16 regions and reconstructed back to 1960 to be able to tell us how was maybe Ahafo or Savannah region as at 1960 using.
That's all for business tonight. There's more business updates on our website on adoanews.com. We take a quick 10. We're back with entertainment. Do stay. For still staying tuned, now let's do some entertainment. Veteran Ghanaian actress Rama Brew and her daughter Michelle Ato are reviving the beloved TV show Ultimate Paradise, which originally graced our screens 3 decades ago. The revival of the classic series aims to revive fun memories and delight a generation of viewers. In a recent social media video, which is cited by Adoa TV Entertainment Desk, Michelle Ato reflected on the fleeting nature of time and shared her thought on how quickly the years have flown by.
Baby. So let us know when you're ready. You're ready, we're rolling. Oh, you're rolling? Yeah. Oh my God. Okay, so this is an impromptu, from us to you. Listen, it's been 30 years. Actually,
30 already?
It's been 30 years. Tell them what 30 years actually means to me. It means I am now 48 and I was 20 years old at the time. It means I've had 2 kids since then. It means that you are in your beautiful 60s. We're not going to tell them exactly what number of 60s.
Oh, yes, we are.
Should we tell them?
I am going to be 69, honey, next week.
Oh, yes.
Next week.
Yes. So as a pre-birthday celebration to my mother and from us to you, the faces that you used to see way back in the day, 30 years ago, and to this program that went by, or like Ultimate Paradise. That was 30 years ago.
That was a 60, it was wonderful, wasn't it?
That was something. Yeah, well, anyway. So, guys, this is a big surprise. As a pre-celebration announcement of my mom's 69th birthday on the 2nd of July, we are saying to you that Ultimate Paradise is coming back on your screens very, very soon.
On that very exciting note, this is how far we come to you with the news tonight that came to you right from our studios here at the John Evans Fiat Mills High Street in Accra. For more news, do want to log on to our website on adoanews.com.